found this in Gunner room. Gunner mirror knee.
What is it?
Well, it's
Synthaholics.
Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
Aaron O'Brien. I'm back.
Because last week Aaron wasn't with us.
I couldn't make it. Scheduling made it impossible.
Rogue One, he just didn't want to talk about Star Wars. It's been too much Star Wars for Aaron.
It's too much Star Wars. We got to focus on the Star Trek, not the Star Wars.
Well, that was our last Star Wars one until we do the countdown to Episode 8.
There you go.
Well, so we got Dune coming up.
Yeah.
Dune will be the next non-Star Trek thing we do.
Get your Dune buggies ready.
Dune, yeah. And the sandworms in your blue eyes.
Awesome.
We are Synthaholics.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Synthaholics. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Synthaholics, so you can donate to us if you think we're worth it.
Throw us a buck. What's a buck? $1 a month. You spend more of that on coffee and hamburgers. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Give us some love. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere where you want to find your podcast. Subscribe to us. Give us some ratings and reviews. Show us some love that way if you don't want to pitch into the Patreon. No matter how you want to help support us with reviews and stars or monetary, it's all helpful.
Tell a friend, too.
Yeah. Share the love.
Share the love. Show people that might like Star Trek.
Indeed. So I am David_J_Duncan on Twitter. The show is at Synthaholic Duo on Twitter.
And I'm Blackbird2004 on Twitter.
And if you want to email us, you can email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com. We have gotten one recipient of the voice mail for doing the episode for season 3. We want to make the intro sound like the Borg. Whenever it goes Synthaholics, we want to change that to a Borg sounding sound.
Yeah, why don't you just repeat that as you did a couple episodes back? Just give them the walkthrough if they haven't heard.
So if you missed that episode, we want to do we want to make the beginning of Synthaholics. We want to change the voice that says Synthaholics to a Borg sound. So we want you to email us in at synthaholics@yahoo.com or contact us somehow if you don't want to email, if you want to do a Dropbox or something. We want you to say Synthaholics twice and then say Synthaholics, a Star Trek podcast.
And you can do it right on your phone. You can, like, most of them have audio recorders.
Yeah, the one we got said it was sent from their phone, so they recorded it right on their phone.
And then you can just email it right to us that way, and it's super easy.
I was asking permission if I could read that one on the air, so I'm still waiting back to hear from him.
That's all right.
But I really appreciate you sending that in. And you know, I wanted to mention that we did get one because I want to encourage you all to send those in.
Yeah, exactly. So this is for a new intro that we're trying to do for our next third season.
Third season, which will be end of March, beginning of April.
Going on year 3.
Wow, year 3.
Yikes.
I hope they don't cancel us like TOS.
The cool thing is no one can cancel us. Only our will can be ground further into the ground. But they don't understand that we are nerds. Our will has been ground to the ground all our lives.
All those wedgies.
All
those times in the playground we were called nerds.
Oh, man. They just made us stronger.
All those Cheerios we ate to get the stickers.
Poor Guy Davis.
Oh.
Well, this episode, we are talking about the infamous, the worst, the most hated Voyager episode.
Threshold.
Oh.
But don't we have some news this week in Star Trek?
We have a couple news. We have the Discovery that's been pushed back.
You know what the Discovery is? When the actual date will come out. That'll be the major discovery for Star Trek Discoveries when they actually get that date. Because it's been postponed to indefinitely.
Someday.
Although we did get an actor on the same bite of news, we got an actor playing Sarek.
That's right.
He was in The Tudors. He was in Orphan Black. He's currently in Gotham, I think, or he was in Gotham last season. What's his name?
James Fran is his name.
He's a really good actor. He sort of has the Mark Leonard. I mean, he sort of has a Mark Leonard-ish look to him.
I've seen some other pictures of him. He looks crazier in some other pictures.
Oh,
so.
he can definitely pull off crazy. So, but I mean, this will be Sarek pre-Bendai syndrome.
Yeah, well, obviously, hopefully.
Unless he's been hiding that Bendai syndrome a long, long time.
Man, he's really good.
7 years of hiding it.
So, yeah, we got a new actor to play Sarek, so I don't know if that's going to be an enduring part or that's just going to be... I hope they don't make him part of a crew because...
I feel like it's got to be a big part. Like, why would they announce the cast? I mean, they've announced 4 other people being cast in the show.
Yeah.
Like, this is the 5th casting announcement. It'd be really weird, a casting announcement, if he's a small part.
Well, not just that, but here's the thing. It's like Spock joined the Enterprise and the Federation, and Sarek rejected him because of that.
But he's the Vulcan ambassador to Earth, so maybe...
That's the only
maybe
thing.
maybe they're on a counselor ship to Alderaan, and they got to have the counselor on board.
They need to intercept some messages.
But from a different sector, not from another ship. You just happen to have the disc handed to you on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And Axanar, the suit sort of settled, I guess.
It sounds like it. So they settled out of court between CBS, Paramount, and Alec Peters' Axanar project. And
I guess they're allowed to make it 2 15-minute. Basically, they just have to follow the fan film guidelines going forward.
So 2 15-minute episodes. So
2 15-minute pieces of garbage because I hate the rules. The rules are just stupid.
And what does that mean for things like Star Trek Beyond, or not Star Trek Beyond?
Star Trek Continues.
Star Trek Continues. Like how does that work?
I have not heard anything about that new, but the last episode that came out was technically from their previous Patreon. So the most recent Patreon, I don't think they've produced any episodes from that yet.
Yeah.
I imagine they're going to continue to go forward. There's been no litigation against them. So, and when we had Vic Mignogna on, he said they're going to abide by what CBS says. So I don't know how that's going to work.
And they're only doing a few more episodes.
I think they only have a couple more planned because this was their last Kickstarter that they're going to do. So they're going to wrap it up with the next couple episodes, I guess. Hopefully,
I hope they go to the white and gray uniforms.
That would be fun
if they jump into that. That'd be really neat.
A uniform change at the end. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's where we are with Axanar. Who knows what we'll get from their actual what they've produced, how far they've gotten. I have no clue. How far what they've recorded, what they've filmed.
I don't know. I mean, even if they did shoot some stuff, it may not be important to the overall, hour and a half long movie they were trying to make, and now they have to cut it back to 2 15-minute episodes.
Yes,
if it even gets made. I mean,
yeah. How do you edit down, an hour and a half? I don't
think they've shot that much, but I mean, it was scripted to be like a feature length movie. So
right.
They've got to chop that out. I don't even know if it's gonna even happen. Who knows?
Well, obviously email us, tweet us, or go on our message board on the groups, the group, and let us know what you think. If you think it's fair, if it's unfair. I
don't think the rules are fair, but whatever.
I don't either. Although I have now we get more information. I have some conflicted feelings about Axanar and Alec Peter and everything.
Well, I heard Trek Geeks report that Alec Peters tried to shop Axanar to, I think, Hulu and Netflix. I mean, that's
weird.
Poor form for trying to do a non-profit fan film. That just doesn't seem legit.
Yeah,
trying to do this for free. I mean, that seems kind of shady to me.
Yeah, I don't. It's so weird. And the other thing is, I have two speculations with Discovery. One is that Discovery is takes place something to do with the Klingon, the 4-Year War somehow, and the Axanar thing kind of was stepping on that IP that they're trying to drum up, so they thought maybe they had two conflicting stories. I don't know. I have another theory with Discovery, is that possibly Discovery is somehow brought back in time to during that time, 10 years before Kirk. So it could be a future ship. It has no basis on anything.
It's just what's been rattling around.
Yeah, because it's just more of is because I look at the ship, I'm like, how does that ship fit in with the continuity?
With T.O. Well, I think the whole thing with them doing it 10 years before Kirk is I think they want to soft reboot the visual continuity of the show.
Maybe.
So that whenever they do, because the original series is stuck in the 60s, the aesthetic of the 60s, the time of the 60s. And if they reboot the show, they can update the aesthetic of that era to what is, more commonplace that we would see now. That way, whenever they do get to do something in Next Gen era, they can update what we saw from the 80s to be an evolution of the new aesthetic they're setting up.
I guess.
Because, they said they're changing the way the aliens look a little bit too. So, if they're going to change the aliens, why aren't they going to change the ships? And they have to change the ships because you can't take a production like this seriously if it's going to look like 1960 ships.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Just just one of those things that I was playing around in my head. Like, what if it was like a ship from the future and God bounced it back into the past, and somehow they had to deal with that era?
That'd be interesting.
Don't know. Just crazy speculation on my part. It doesn't mean anything, and don't take it as...
It's definitely an interesting idea, and time travel is definitely part of Star Trek.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
It could be a thing, but we won't know till who knows when. But they finished shooting supposedly in September, which is an obscenely long time for only 13 episodes.
Right.
Because I think that's almost 9 months.
But not just that, but then they have to do all the post-production with all the effects, which I'm sure they'll be working,
as it's going along.
Yeah, congruently with the shooting.
But I was looking up because I was curious about how long it takes to produce an episode of a TV show. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I like Gotham, and Gotham's a longer-running TV show. Those are 20-something plus episodes.
Okay.
And I think season 1 of Gotham, they shot that over a span of 13 months. I think they started in January and then it didn't end till the next February or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was a 13-month shoot for 20-something episodes.
But they have lots of sets, don't they, for that? And they also have...
They shoot in New York.
Yeah, lots of sets and lots of... Locations, so they have to have crews moving around, and they have to... And I'm sure they have interior sets that they go to, studios for
Sure, I'm sure there's definitely some interior sets they go to. But
and then, so many different actors... Where Star Trek is technically, if you think about it...
It's going to be all sound... most Star Trek is soundstage stuff. Except for... if they go to... Wesley Crusher falls into the plants. Oh, if they go to...
Justice,
for Justice. If they fall into the sewage reclamation plant.
Edo, the Edoni... Or Edos?
Yeah, the Edo.
But, I don't know. So... the other thing is with the bridges and stuff like that. A lot of the sets can be they're made modular, so they can change them around a little bit, but they're technically the same set. They just move them around. They do that a lot, and especially even in the movies.
Oh yeah, the Wrath of Khan and all the bridges are the same. They just modular. They moved different pieces around.
Yeah, they moved them around a little bit, just to make them a little bit different, and then that was about it.
So that's interesting, but yeah, sure. On a show that's got a huge undertaking like Gotham, where they shoot on location a lot and have to do these crazy shoots that aren't all on sound stages. Star Trek is got to be 80% on sound stages for most of their stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So
for something that's 80% on sound stages to have a 9-month shoot,
yeah,
that's just that. I don't understand what's going on there. For only something that's only supposed to be 10 or 13 episodes,
yeah,
half the length, but they're shooting for, three quarters of the length of a show that's much longer.
So weird. But we'll see. Maybe it's just that... I don't even know...
I wonder if it'll air in January of 2018 at this point. Who knows? God.
Well, maybe it'll be the summertime by that time, and we'll be nice and tan and relaxed and sitting back.
I hope it comes out in September, but who knows? The release date has been rescinded, so we have no idea what's going on.
Right. Well, on to our main topic, Threshold.
I'm sorry, we're just trying to avoid that.
Trying to get away from it, but there's no getting away from Threshold. So Voyager Threshold came out season 2, episode 15. And
such an early season for them to be doing something like this.
So bold, right? And it came out in January 29th. Not close. I'm very close.
Wow, we're almost on the anniversary.
1996. So there you go.
Will be after the anniversary when this comes out, but hey, we're close enough.
If anybody's wondering who wrote this, and we're going to get into his backstory a little bit, but if you're want to get a hate mail, his name is Michael DeLuca.
Write very long hate letters,
but I'm sure he's forgotten it by now, and we'll get into that later. So, anyways, we started off the episode. Obviously, Tom Paris, the shuttlecraft jockey of the Voyager,
who wants to be a hot rod wannabe guy.
He wants to break warp 10 barrier.
He's just all about breaking the barriers, and
he's going to with Klingon love.
Klingon love.
He goes to warp 9.95, wherein the nacelles are taken off his shuttle and it explodes, but he is just in a holographic simulation.
I wish they would have cut to the credits right after the ship exploded.
That would have been cool.
That would have been a way better setup than them just immediately showing him that he's in the holodeck. I'm like, they could have done a really cool fake out.
Yeah. That was.
This is just the beginning of the problems of this episode.
So many problems. So and Harry Kim and B'Elanna
with his perfect hair. Oh, I'm gonna smack him.
He does have. Harry Kim has some nice hair. You know, it looks good.
Luscious locks of man hair.
And talking about luscious locks, we have B'Elanna, and they're both kind of like, you're dead. So, anyways, so that goes on to their that was the teaser, and then we go into the beginning of the show where they're in the mess, and Neelix offers help to what their problem is.
Like, do you understand quantum warp mechanics to the third degree, Neelix?
Apparently,
no, but I have a quick study.
He was an engineer's assistant aboard some freighter that makes him well-versed in warp theory. Okay, well, at least you understand it. Doesn't mean you can go to warp 10.
Okay. So let's remember, Neelix is basically Star Trek's version of a Jawa. He's a junk dealer at best. Hadn't seen water, in large enough quantities to drink barely, and.
True.
Much less to bathe in. And so he just sells junk. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to get into complex Federation technology warp theory.
Yeah, but the thing is, on top of that, it's like I can do some car repair on my car. I know how cars work. I know the basics of how to
turn
do
the key, press the pedal, and it goes, right?
No, I mean, I can actually get in the car and do a little repair. I mean, I'm not a mechanic, but I can do a few things. But it's like he was saying to me, okay, now build Indy 500 Formula racing car. I was like, I wouldn't have a clue.
The theoretical thing, how do we improve the Indy 500 racing car?
Yeah,
how do we make the engine more efficient? That's basically what they're talking about.
Which it also kind of begs for Tom Paris and Kim and even B'Elanna is sure they're smart and they're Starfleet officers, but they're not really theoretical people. They're more of just maybe they are, but
I mean, B'Elanna I can see being more theoretical because she's the engineer. She's got to think on her toes. Tom is more I like to fix things with my hands guy.
But maybe Kim too. Kim could have. He's got some scientific knowledge.
I think Kim was listed as a prodigy or something like that. And they say Kim was super smart, and I don't know.
Isn't it amazing how everyone's special?
Everyone's special. He plays his flute really good.
He does.
This one time in Span Camp. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, so he gives Neelix gives them a little idea, a little Talaxian proverb or something like that.
It's not that the nacelles are going fast. It's that the hull is going too fast. So they're let's just repolarize the hull and make sure it doesn't unpolarize, and it'll be fine. I'm like, well, why aren't the nacelles made out of the same materials as the rest of the ship? I mean, I understand the innards are different because they would make the thing go, but can you make us go?
Can you make us go?
Backlight. We haven't done that episode.
We've got to do that one. Maybe February. So anyway, they decide they're going to, with his inspiration, they leave the mess and they're going to recalibrate this idea through the holodeck, and rework that. And
He virtually reaches the warp 10 barrier.
yeah.
Woo!
So in the briefing room, they kind of show the video to everyone, and
That's embarrassing because he looked like he jizzed in his pants, but
he did. He shit his pants while he's going that fast. And Janeway was thoroughly impressed, and they want him to do that. And
her bun was standing extra high that day.
So she says that you'll be known as such great names as Orville Wright, Neil Armstrong, and Zephyr Cochrane.
And his head just swells up.
His head does
swell up.
His head does swell up, but not at that very moment.
Not at that moment.
This is just figuratively.
It's a foreshadowing.
Anyway, so they're going to go. She gives them the go-ahead to start preparing the shuttlecraft for an actual Warp 10 test run.
Meanwhile, in Tom Paris's quarters, while he's relaxing
in his bathrobe with his...
It's not a shiny one like Captain Picard and Riker had.
No, he wants cotton.
No, he's got it's more comfortable, I guess.
Yeah, he wants the cotton feel.
Doesn't chafe as bad.
He learned the cotton for a living back in the Australian...
He was picking cotton in his Australian penal colony.
Yeah, in the penal colony there. So Janeway says that the doctors found something in his brain that could give him a 2% chance of dying.
I'm pretty sure you got a higher percent chance of dying just by the fact of being on Voyager.
Just doing this. Or just doing this test, period.
Just being on Voyager in the Delta Quadrant, you've got a higher percent chance of dying.
Janeway's command.
Yeah, being under Janeway's command, most definitely.
It's amazing you haven't died already. So
I mean, you're lost in the Delta Quadrant. That's the next best thing is being dead, right?
You might as well just write your epitaph right now. They, Paris begs her to reconsider because he wants Ensign Kim to do the flight. And it's like, Ensign Kim? Are you kidding? He'll blow up the shuttle.
Before it even gets out the airline.
Yeah. Well, there goes another shuttlecraft. So they decide that he begs Janeway, and Janeway says, "Okay, I'll let you do it, even though you."
I guess 2%'s not that big.
Not that bad. I just wanted to throw that out.
I just wanted to catch you naked, but you were wearing your bathrobe. I'm gonna fuck you later.
That's right.
She does give him a weird, sort of sexy look. As she leaves.
There's another thing about this whole episode. It's something weird with
having sex with your captain.
The shuttle goes. Paris goes aboard the shuttle, and they take off, and obviously Voyager is following behind, and they go faster, and he goes. And basically, they record him going to Warp 10, and then Paris completely vanishes. They don't know where he goes.
They can't find him, but. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
He's tripping on some shrooms.
He's with you right now.
He's in the women's locker room. He's in his own locker room. He's watching his dad in the bathroom back at Starfleet headquarters. He's everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. He's in the toilet, under the toilet, where his dad's dropping a deuce. Yeah.
Ah!
No, Dad, no. No.
Don't let it go. Stop with the captain's log.
Yeah, so, and then he shows back up.
And he's passed out.
And they beam aboard, and the doctor basically gives him a scan. He's like, he's perfectly fine.
He's just sleeping.
He's just sleeping.
This is one of the best parts of the episode. Jane was like, "Can you wake him up?" And he's like, "Certainly." He leans down his face, "Wake up!"
Yeah, it's pretty funny, actually.
I love. I just wish there was a whole episode of Robert Picardo just being Doctor.
Oh yeah,
that would have been great. Just following. I mean, he did have his own episodes, but they were never him just
by himself,
doing Doctor stuff and just yelling at people,
just being a little shitty,
crotchety. Yeah,
just being a little shitty.
That would have been so great.
Yeah, yeah.
But then he ends up having to save the day, at the end. That would have been so great having him. Doctor's Day.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, Doctor's Day. Well, anyway, so he wakes up and he basically says when he gets to Warp 10, he's everywhere. So he goes into, what is that, the sixth dimension, where you're at all points, at times? I don't know if it's the sixth or seventh dimension. I can't remember how that works.
I mean, I think of the seventh dimension, you can see all the possible universes in your current
So it must be the
universe,
sixth dimension.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's hard to keep the dimension straight past 4.
But it's infinite. He's
moving at supposedly infinite velocity, although I warp isn't velocity.
Yeah, right.
Like the way warp theory works in Star Trek, and the way it's described as working is the warp bubble encompasses the ship.
Right.
It moves space around the ship,
and they kind of skate through space.
Yeah, so like they're moving through space via warp bubble. The way scientists right now are describing it is that the space shrinks in front of you and it expands behind you, so it kind of like you're like surfing through space, sort of.
Exactly.
You're literally riding
sort of like
an artificial wave.
I wonder if the Silver Surfer from Marvel Comics kind of rides on that kind of warp bubble. That's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it's literally surfing. The way like they show it, like it's at the things at an angle, and space is being shrunk and expanded. And this is theoretically how, if we ever develop warp in real life, this is how it would work: shrinking space and expanding space. So it's how it works. So you're not moving; everything else is moving around you.
Just have to discover those dilithium crystals.
Yeah,
whatever those are. He's made Warp 10, and he's the first human to go break the transwarp barrier. And they download the shuttle's core, and they basically confirm everything he says, that he was literally everywhere. And
they download all these 20,000 gigaquads of data.
Too bad they can't transmit some of that shit to Federation's home base, like, the Romulan homeworld.
Oh yeah,
everything.
Here's all the stuff on the Romulans. That would have been great if they got some top secret information.
Oh, it'd been awesome. Just little blips that would be interesting. What they could come up with.
Oh, that's just Kretek's butthole. I wonder how we can blackmail him.
I know you bleach your butthole. Oh no, he knows. Anyways, so
Spock doesn't have the head ridges. Oh no!
Oh my god! So they're at Paris is at the sick bay. He's released, and then he goes to the mess hall with tourists, and they're talking about trying to replicate the results. And then he has this episode where he falls on the ground.
It's because Neelix poisoned him with a new coffee blend named Paris Delight.
Paris Delight makes him shit his pants. That's if you ever get to
turn
Paris,
his veins blue and bulging at his forehead.
Yeah, it's just the crap is in your stomach and just wants to come out so bad.
And then he starts hyperventilating, and they figure out
he sort of looks like Frodo after he gets stabbed with the
Nazgul blade.
Yeah, Nazgul blade. Yeah, it's exactly what he looks like.
Yeah.
Acts the same too.
Yeah, he does.
I wonder if the Nazgul blade has something to do with transwarp going 10.
Exactly.
Thresholds.
You pass the threshold.
Thresholds.
You get stabbed with the Nazgul blade.
Frodo Baggins. Thresholds.
Yeah. And Land of the Shire, there's a hobbit we all admire. Fire little toes, and he lives in a hobbit hole, and everybody knows him. Bilbo, Dildo Baggins.
Dildo Baggins. Anyways, by the way, at this point, the episode is not bad yet.
Yeah, the episode is definitely watchable at this point. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, they're throwing out some interesting things,
ideas that you could be at multiple places at once. That's cool.
It's interesting.
I don't,
it's around the halfway. It's around the 3/4 point where it starts to fall apart.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there, and so they bring him back to the sick bay, and he's having allergic reactions to the water in Neelix's coffee. I just think it was the coffee.
I just think it was the coffee. It's the catalyst to spur his somewhat evolutionary change, or a quote unquote evolutionary change, what they say in this episode.
Right. So Paris's his DNA is mutating, and his lungs can no longer process oxygen. So they fill the room. They put up a force field. They fill the room with 80% nitrogen and 20% acyl chloridade. So whatever that is, I have no idea. I'm not a chemist, so don't ask.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah. So he starts breathing again. So they're trying to use radiation to stop it, but they don't his mutation, but it's not having any success. And he starts becoming delirious, asking for a funeral and all that sorts of stuff like that.
And his head starts to swell up. He starts getting skin lesions, or skin's just hanging off. If you ever thought Paris was attractive, you don't anymore.
Right. He just gets weirder and weirder, and all the stuff that he wants to
pulls out his tongue. I wish they would have like gone further with the horror element. Like if he pulled out his tongue and then started eating it, that would have been like really creepy.
That would have been nuts.
That would have been nuts. That would have been scary. I'm like, what? I mean, we did the commentary for the episode. You said you watch it with your kids. Your kids started freaking out that he pulled out his tongue.
Oh my god!
It would have been even freakier if he started eating it. I'm just like, what?
It's funny because most Star Trek episodes they can watch and they're not freaked out. Only a few episodes.
I mean, Star Trek usually doesn't go to that scary land.
No,
very
not
often.
too often. Not too often. So, I mean, the makeup is good, and that's pretty freaked out. The tongue coming out is like, it's like whoa, Somehow he can still talk.
Yeah. Need to get out of here. The future's now, and the past is the present.
You're making a lot of sense, dude. Here's the
I'm
other
tripping
thing.
mushrooms.
So crewman Michael Jonas is in his quarters. He sends the data warp 10 to the Kazon. So it really is this part they throw out there, and it's just like
They never really follow up on it.
like what? Why?
He's trying to earn. He wants to get back into Seska's pants.
Sure,
This
but
basically is what's going on.
but still, you're
because
just,
Seska's with the Kazons.
Yeah, but
he can't ever talk to her.
it's just like why are they bringing this up and not even picking up any threads of it later? So. Episode kind of just sits there and it just leaves it cold. So this is the last and first time we see it. It's weird. And the Kazons, I just don't like the Kazons. I know they're trying to develop sort of a Klingon type race.
Yeah, they're the Delta Quadrant Klingons, but they're not even good as Delta Quadrant Klingons, though.
They're terrible. I mean, the Klingons in the Delta Quadrant are more interesting than the Kazon. And they're just a ship floating around that thinks that it's still, still at war with the Federation. Janeway goes to the sick bay, sees Paris. He's all a mess. He's skin's flaking off of him. His fingers are fusing together. Obviously, like we said, he lost his tongue. He wants to leave the isolation chamber, and it just gets. He's so whacked out of his head. He basically goes after Janeway, and.
Yeah, it's she goes to the sick bay to try to settle the situation, and she just gets jumped in this turbo lift by him.
Well, no, I mean, like, he jumps at her in the sick bay. He's tries to attack her.
Oh, yeah. He throws himself against the shield, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that doesn't feel great, even though I'm evolving into a lizard man.
So the doctor comes to the idea that he has to destroy the mutating DNA. He has to use anti-proton radiation from the warp core, and they have a system set up where they put him down into engineering, and they bring him down there, and they're going to put this anti-protons into him. But Paris starts struggling, and he gets out, of course, and he attacks everybody. And by this time, he really starts looking like some kind of like lizard salamander kind of creature.
Oh, he looks really cool now when they put him in sick bay and that thing.
Before he
looks like a legit like lizard guy. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah, before he was gross, but now he's like really cool looking. Now before he was like this side of like a Frankenstein
He could sort of be like one of those dinosaurs from Everybody Do the Dinosaur.
Yes.
Whatever episode that was.
Yeah, I can't remember. But so Janeway is taking the turbo lift where Paris jumps from behind her and knocks her out immediately. And I'm kind of just like, aren't you the fucking captain?
Nah. She's not the captain.
Can't you take a hit? Come on. I mean, you are a top Federation officer. I think you can take a hit. Well, maybe his...
Oh, she does go commando in that episode where they're fighting those giant one-celled organisms that fly around the ship.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, maybe because he's like this weird DNA mutating thing, maybe he's gotten like...
He's super strong.
Super
and
strength.
super bold. And super tongueless.
Right. Anyway, so Paris takes Janeway to the shuttle bay, and then launches the shuttlecraft again and goes off into warp, basically going to warp 10 again. And Chakotay tries to chase after them. Of course, he chases. He takes steals the shuttlecraft again. Again, we see the shuttlecraft just stolen.
Yeah, we mentioned this a couple episodes ago, where like, the shuttlecraft just gets stolen. And the funny thing is, in the beginning of the episode, when he first takes off, they're like, Harry Kim, open the shuttle bay doors. And I'm like, wait a second. Anyone stealing a shuttle could open the doors on themselves.
Why can't?
Like, why do you have to do this for him? What's wrong with you? And again, like, shuttles are so easy to steal.
They are.
I don't understand. Like, why is there so little security?
There has to be some kind of...
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Like, there needs to be an episode of Star Trek where people just board the Enterprise via opening the shuttle bay, because it's so easy to do.
Yeah, just open up with a crowbar.
And just have people invade. That would be amazing.
So he takes Janeway in the shuttle, and he jumps to warp 10, and Chakotay tries to get the Voyager to chase after him. Obviously, they can't keep up.
So the actor that took the guy away, who's like talking to the Kazon, trying to get his name is Rafal Sbarge, Sbarga, and I actually met him a couple years ago at PAX East. He was a voice in a video game called Mass Effect. So I've met one of the guys from Voyager. Yay, me!
And does he enjoy the Kazon company?
I didn't ask him about that because I was like, I didn't realize he was in Star Trek at the time when I was watching. And when I met him and was talking to him about the video game that he was in.
And you didn't realize that he
played such an important role in Star Trek Voyager. He was in 6 episodes of of Star Trek. Yeah.
Anyway, so the obviously they jump to transwarp, go into warp 10. They disappear. They can't find them. It takes them 3 days to find the.
They could be anywhere in the entire physical universe.
Anywhere,
and they just happen to be 3 days away.
3 days away, and they're on a planet. And they're basically, when Chakotay and Tuvok beam down, they're basically giant salamanders that have that have been mutated.
So they've shrunken in size. I mean, they're big salamanders, but they're not like humanoid size. They're
pretty big.
They've gotten smaller.
They got to be about 4 feet long,
probably.
Yeah,
like before you get to the tail, maybe.
And they've had babies.
So they've mated and excreted the children within 3 days.
Janeway's a mom.
Janeway's a mom. Paris is a dad. And they leave the babies on the planet.
Strangely enough, they just leave them.
How many ways that violate the Prime Directive? Like, Janeway should have been like, we're going back, we're getting them, we're turning them back into people.
Or
like, that just is
we're going to get them and just study the shit out of them. I mean, if this is
something,
technically, if this is some kind of future evolution of man that we're going to turn into giant salamanders, then maybe we should study the shit out of this.
Maybe, make sure we're prepared to turn into giant lizards one day.
At least we have an idea, even if it's a version of us. Who knows?
It doesn't even make any sense.
So
it's a de-evolution,
and of course. Next scene after they basically stun both the salamander.
Chakotay shows his ignorance. I left the babies on the planet. What's wrong with you? You're the worst first officer.
He is the worst first officer. So he stuns both Janeway and Paris salamander versions, and they
doesn't stun the babies.
The babies jump in the water, run away. Mommy, Daddy, where are you going? And then they bring him back aboard, and the doctor miraculously just turns him back to human Janeway, human Tom Paris.
Yeah, and they don't say why they're never going to use the warp ever again.
Well, obviously it has some side effects. So
look, just do it once and just put Doctor knows how to fix everybody. That's all you needed to do. Like they find reasons. They always find a dumb reason not to go back, not to use the technology they find to get back to the Alpha Quadrant.
Right.
So, like, what happens? The Borgs use a form of transwarp. How come the Borg don't de-evolve into salamanders?
I don't know.
It's just so dumb.
It doesn't make any sense. And then, just before the ending, Janeway and Paris sit there and they talk. And Janeway makes some kind of like thing like, well, maybe it's the female that made the initiations for this sexual reproduction. Like... So you're saying you were attracted to his salamander self? I mean, and do they recall what happened to them?
Do they recall?
They don't really get into, like, if they remembered the whole thing or if they remembered any of it.
It's at least fuzzy, because he's like, oh, I'm sorry I screwed you, Captain. And she's like, well, maybe I did the screwing.
Yeah, because he says he's embarrassed about the whole thing, and then she says that she might have done the mating process. Anyways, who initiated it? But it seems so.
She's like, "Thank you for getting me laid for the first time since we've been in the Delta Quadrant. Thank you, Thank you."
Well, anyways, and then she says, regardless of the outcome, you did make the first transwarp flight. And Paris says,
"I'm going to give you a commendation. You did me that good that I enjoy it.
You did me good.
I'm going to give you a commendation."
But that's the end of the episode technically, and it kind of leaves you cold and thinking like, what was that? Like,
it's like usually Star Trek makes you think, and it's a good thing, but this makes you think, and it's like you're like, what were they thinking?
So like I watched it with my kids, but my wife was watching it, and she goes, so they just left the salamander babies there? And I didn't prompt her for that at anything. She just threw that out there. They just left. So this is like where mankind is going to evolve theoretically sometime in the future, and they could study that shit.
Yeah, and they just left it. Like, it just, nothing makes sense.
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's one of those like stories, like we were like, even to the point, I think it really falls apart basically where the mutated Tom knocks out Janeway in the turbo lift and then steals the shuttlecraft. Right there, it kind of falls apart completely for me.
That's where it falls apart, and then you've got the explanation where the doctor's talking to Chakotay and it's like, well, this is a form of evolution, and they're moving beyond that of, a regular human being. And I'm like, that looks like de-evolution, not evolution. And actually, Brandon Braga, I believe it was Brandon Braga,
he did the revision
of the strip.
Yes.
He said he had an idea about how de-evolution, how evolution could be a circle, and like, you start small and you build up to the bigger brain, bigger muscle, you're a human, and then there's nowhere to go but down, and you just go back down, you come back around to humans again.
But then do we just go back to a single cell organism?
I don't know. He didn't elaborate on that. It doesn't
make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make it makes no sense. And but if at least they would have said that in the episode, in the continuity of the episode itself, I could kind of see where they were going, even if it's completely wrong and completely stupid.
Right.
At least it would have made the episode make a little bit more sense. But it's just dumb. It's bad science fiction. Bad science.
Yeah, and everything we see in Star Trek always seems that the creatures that evolve from a humanoid form usually go to some kind of pure energy or
the Edo God, because the Edo God exists in the higher than fourth dimension, like the fourth or fifth.
Right, they break the dimension
or the fifth or sixth, probably. Actually, they. It's crazy because Data was like, yeah, these used to be like us, and the Q. I think Q even said that we used to be limited like you.
Yeah,
and like, so I mean, in Star Trek things get way better. Not like, oh, we're a lizard.
And here's the thing. Okay, so like I was saying before, the writer of this is Michael DeLuca, and Michael DeLuca is interesting for the fact that most of his writing credits suck. Like everything he wrote the TV show for Nightmare on Elm Street. He did a whole bunch of stuff, but and he wrote like the most famous thing he's written. It was the 1990s Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd,
Judge Dredd,
which is terrible. Like the it's not good. I mean, if you watch the one with
Carl Urban,
yes,
that is amazing.
Great Judge Dredd.
It's like a great callback to great 90s action films.
Yes, this is perfect. And the
Stallone one is everything bad about
Sandra Bullock and Stallone, and it's just awful. I saw it in theaters because I'm everyone who listens to this knows I'm a comic.
You're a comic guy, and
Judge Dredd was huge in the 80s and 90s.
He was absolutely huge.
He was huge. But then DeLuca takes this weird turn, and he makes this he becomes a producer, an executive producer, and he's been the producer of some big films. I mean, really big films like Tom Cruise and Magnolia and stuff like that. But then he was in he produced Social Network.
I loved that movie. That was really well done.
Which was
a fun movie.
Nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture, and also Captain Phillips with Tom Hanks.
Amazing movie.
Which is also nominated for
movie.
Academy Award for Best Picture. So, you can email Michael DeLuca about Threshold. I don't think he cares. He's in a swimming pool of money like Scrooge McDuck, and
swimming pool, giant swimming pool,
and he's doing. And he's producing what's it called? 50 Shades.
50 Shades Darker?
50 Shades Darker.
Oh, that probably won't win any awards. It'll make lots of money. For
He'll make so much
all the silly, lonely women who want to see the sequel to the first one.
Yeah, and he's doing the one after it, too. I don't know what it's called.
There's another one?
Yeah, so...
I didn't know there was I didn't know it was a trilogy.
I'm not really up on 50 Shades, but I'm just saying is that's... so he's on... I mean, he's making...
He's making money.
And like, he does have good credits for these producers. I don't think the guy can write.
What do producers do?
They basically come up with the money. They come up with the general idea, and they try to get everyone behind like an idea. So if you're like, let's say you're...
so this is a guy, right? And he likes beating on women in sexual ways. So we're going to make this into a movie. It'll be huge.
It'll be huge. Well, let's say you had oodles and oodles and oodles of money. Like, you're just super rich. That you could... And you have connections in Hollywood. You could be a producer, and you could say, like, I like this story... And I'm going to get, so-and-so actor to play this. I'm going to get so-and-so director to direct it. I'm going to get so-and-so, with a screenplay to do it.
They kind of help put everything together.
They put it all together. And obviously...
They're the puzzle builders.
They're puzzle builders. They're also kind of directing it, like where the direction of where it's going to go, make sure it gets everything correctly. And that's why some movies do great, because they have great producers.
Oh, apparently he's a great producer. Captain Phillips was fantastic.
Yeah.
I saw them in the movie theaters. It's really good.
But my point only being is that,
he can't write for anything. Just like George Lucas.
Yeah, exactly.
George Lucas wrote a bunch of Star Wars movies that were terrible.
So if you want to write Michael DeLuca, go ahead, but I don't think he's going to.
But when George Lucas was an executive producer on Star Wars 5 and 6, those were actually good.
Can't understand it. Your takeaways from this episode?
Don't watch it. It hurts.
Obviously, it hurts, but
no. I mean, like I said, we did. It was my worst the worst episode that I covered. This my first worst the worst.
Yep.
And I was trying to figure out ways to make it better. And today watching it again, I thought of a way of making it better. Like, take away the whole transwarp thing accelerates evolution. Like, my version to make this better now would be to have some kind of weird alien that lives in that everywhere state, and they can see when we can see other things that enter the everywhere state.
The Justice aliens.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if the Justice aliens were everywhere. They were in multiple places, not everywhere. I mean, but they could be like the Justice aliens.
Who knows?
And then, if someone transfers into their space time or their infinite space or whatever it is, it would have been great if they would have carried on with that horror theme of him ripping out his tongue, and then they find out some alien got him, and then they have to figure out a way to communicate with these aliens that got him.
Right.
That would have been more classic Star Trek. How do we communicate with them? How do we make them turn them back? Or is there any way to fix them? That would have been great.
Right.
Or they maybe didn't even try to talk to him. Maybe it's just a horror element where it's just some scary thing, some scary looking
Event
thing.
Horizon kind of thing.
Yeah, it just turns them, and then but they because their doctor's so awesome. He could fix them, but I mean, It would have been so great if they would have played up that horror theme. He rips out his tongue and eats it, then he's just becoming demented because of the thing that attacked him.
Yeah, maybe his biological brain can't handle what's happening to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, making it because it's got weird horror-ish theme, the way he's turning and he rips out his tongue, that's sort of horror-ish. It's leaning that way. If they would have leaned that way all the way, I think that would have made it a much better episode.
Could have been cool. For me personally, I think when he jumps Janeway in the turbo lift, that's where it starts really falling apart for me.
It's really, Janeway, you can't punch back?
You can't take a hit? I mean, like I said, maybe he's got some super strength from his DNA mutation. And plus, he breathes a different thing, breathes atmosphere, and then he can breathe all right after that.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. I mean... going back to science, actual science, and they said he was allergic to water. Me and you, everyone who's listening, is a carbon-based life form. Your dog is a carbon-based life form. No,
I'm not.
Not Aaron. Aaron's an alcohol-based life form.
Alcohol-based. Synthaholics, baby. Synthaholics, baby, all the way.
But trees are carbon-based. Everything on Earth is a carbon-based life form, unless I'm pretty sure everything that's alive is a carbon-based life form.
Absolutely.
And the key to keep carbon-based life forms alive is water. So to be allergic to water, he would have to be turning into a non-carbon based.
Well, the only one that we really see on any of the episodes is the Horta, who's silicone. Maybe.
There's a silicone.
Silicon. Sorry, not silicone.
Silicone. Yeah, there's a silicone little nodule thing, the Hemi Brain or whatever from the TNG episode.
Yes,
where it controls the laser thing.
The first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
So they're like, we've never seen one of these before. I'm like, the Horda.
The Horda.
Yeah, you've already met silicon-based life forms. I'm sorry, guys.
And they have those giant potato ships out in space. And then, what was the other one? I was thinking
Crystalline Entity.
The Crystalline Entity, but also I was thinking about the Tholians. They're kind of they're like some sort. They're not normal because they have high heat.
Oh yeah, they exist at like 400 something Kelvin or something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like I don't understand how they make spaceships when like most metals melt at the temperatures they have to survive.
They live in the warp core. That's why the ships are so small. Anyways, so
they're deadly though.
That's interesting. The thing I thought about is if Tom Paris goes to Warp 10 and is in everywhere at once, maybe somehow the wrong version of him shows up back. Yeah,
he's crossing different multiverses because like on that video we've talked about before, the dimensions, like once you go up to I think the 7 or
7 or 8.
I think it's 7.
Yeah.
7 you're looking at all the different possibilities of multiple universes.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, like if you're in the 7th dimension, you can see all that as like a single dot, like infinity as a dot. That's basically what they're saying, I think, when you're around that 7th or 8th dimension.
Right.
So I mean, if he's at that point, I mean, like maybe that's a really cool point. Like maybe the wrong version of him pops up because the multiverse theory, it's multiple versions of you doing.
But then why wasn't he?
Time.
But then why wasn't he then like completely mutated by the time he shows up? There's so much weird stuff. I mean, the thing is, I do understand like if you're going at warp 10 and it might affect your physiology somehow, your DNA and all this stuff like that.
But the thing is, like we discovered, you're not moving. You're just. I mean, the way warp works is that you're not technically moving. Things are moving around you. I don't understand why at warp 10 you'd all of a sudden start moving and be everywhere.
I think we're talking pseudoscience, and it doesn't really make any sense. Period. So most of the time Star Trek you can follow like the logical, even though it's maybe not proven science, or maybe we haven't got there scientifically.
It's at least theoretical science.
Theoretical, that you can say yes, that makes sense. This doesn't make sense, and it starts breaking down. And then, as you said before, like, why are we devolving to
instead of into a lizard, instead of evolving into a Q or
something else,
or into the Edo god or whatever,
or to the Greys or whatever,
the Greys,
what we might become. It's one of those things. Just like why did they choose that? It's just because it's a horror. I mean, even if he was more in that like that version where he jumps into he jumps Janeway on the turbo lift, where his form there, that looks more interesting, and maybe that could be a form of us in the future. Who the hell knows?
Sure, yeah, but then the total reversion into a quadruped, that makes no sense at all.
Not to mention, evolution has lots to do with also our breeding and our environment. So it's like, environment changes us. So if we live in a very hot place, or if a cold place, that changes who lives and who survives in a
Mad Max style.
Yeah, in who we breed with too. So if we have sex with our partners, and the children we bear from that, and it's a slow process. So it's like, how do you make that decision to leap to a salamander creature? Like, what version of us is that we live on like sandy swamp beaches and have I don't know.
It's just be able to procreate and deliver offspring in 3 days. Like that's also bonkers.
Yeah, I mean,
like they're not fruit flies. I mean, sure, fruit flies can reproduce really quick, but
right.
I don't think salamanders have an accelerated timeline like that.
And again, and then the doctor just changes them back to regular without much explanation other than he must have their DNA on file somewhere.
Yeah, he just restored the DNA like it was.
And didn't, like, back in TOS where I think it was, I can't remember what episode it was, where they started getting old and they just used the transporters to turn them back to their younger selves. Like, why don't we do that trick all the time?
Yeah, I mean, Picard got turned to his younger self through the transporter accident too. So I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, why didn't
happens
we
all the time?
Why didn't we? I don't know. So it's all so confusing, and I get frustrated when writers try to get clever, but then they don't know how to end or wrap up a story correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is why this episode is such a disappointment. It's just because Star Trek is usually really good with science, and like, you know, they give us things that are out there, but it's like they're within the realm of possibility. Like this doesn't even come close to seeming like it's in the realm of possibility.
Not even close. And it just,
they're not even paying attention to their own based science that they've pseudoscience that they've made in the show.
It gets close. I mean, it's a watchable episode, like a standard Voyager or any Star Trek episode up until that point.
Up until like about 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah,
and then it just like their explanation for all the stuff that's happening is just like, what?
Just completely shits the bed.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, if it was a malevolent alien, like, just messing with people who go to that dimension,
that'd be interesting.
That would be cool. If they have to try to communicate with it, that's what Star Trek's always been about. Communicating with the unknown, strange new life.
Yep.
Meet it, figure out why it ticks, how can we communicate? How can we make peace? How can we be friends?
Right.
Like that. This is just like turning your character into a monster and then fixing it and not even having a good explanation for it. It's just like it could have been so much better.
Yeah, and especially early on season 2, so it's like
like crossing the warp 10 barrier, like, and then they never ever bring it back up. Like they should have brought it up again and again and
trying
to fix it, or like when they got 7 of 9, it's like, hey, we figured out the warp 10 barrier. Do you have any Borg way of fixing the side effects?
No, we just turn into salamanders every time we do that.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. My boobs get so small. I mean, it's ridiculous.
My boobs get so small.
It's like when I'm a lizard, it just sucks.
I have no mammary glands because I'm a salamander.
My sexual appeal falls off way, way far when I'm a salamander. But we've got technology that turns me back. My nanoprobes restore me eventually.
Interesting about this too is I was reading an Alpha Memory that they said that this was the 3rd most watched episode.
Yeah.
Of at the time,
and then everyone just fell off the chain.
Everyone was like, "What the hell is this?" And they just stopped watching.
Oh man!
And this obviously,
it's a wonder they made it past the 2nd season.
This just got completely lambasted with hate mail and angry letters, and they said that out of all, they always get feedback on episodes, but this was like so negative that people were just constantly writing in about this episode. It's like, what the hell is
And
this?
The sad thing is, like, they built this episode. The original idea was to give Tom a bigger part, since Tom had
Tom could do so much, but it's like, and even the beginning of premise is a nice idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and Robert Doug McNeil, he's a good actor. His performance is solid, even when he's kind of acting crazy. And the performances are solid. It's just the script and the story is just like, what are you doing?
Not there at all. It's just completely, who knows?
They also say threshold way too many times. I lost count halfway through, but like around like the 20-minute mark, they'd said threshold like 10 times already.
Thresholds. But anyways, so hey, if you have this is an episode you enjoy, if you have something else you want to throw at us about this episode, we'd love to hear about it.
If you love this episode, tell us why you love it. Tell us why. We will read it on the air. We want to hear like why this is your favorite episode, if this is anyone's favorite episode.
And if you have any medications that you're on right now, we'd like to know about that as well.
And send us your doctor's note as well.
But no, if you have other insights about this or anything else that maybe something we're missing.
Any trivia that just isn't publicly available on Memory Alpha? Anything? It's always fun learning about Star Trek, even if it's not a great episode.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm fascinated that this episode happened, and even like
I think in the Memory Alpha, Brandon Braga was amazed that this was even getting made. He was like, I can't believe this is getting made.
Yeah, no, they were saying that when he was writing for the teleplay for the thing, he was like, what is this? This is not good. And he was right.
Yeah.
He was right.
It's sad.
But yeah, so that's Thresholds. We've talked about Thresholds for almost 2 years.
Yeah, we've been beating it up every now and then, and
it's about time we took it on
for a full regular episode.
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, I did like watching it. It's just that you're just like you do when you dissect it. You're just like, the potential of a decent story got completely squandered with
bad science. I remember when we first met at that job a couple of years ago. I think this is one of the first episodes we talked about.
It could have been. Yeah,
I remember we talked about this really early on, like even like 6 months before we even talked about doing a podcast. I remember we talked about this at work.
Like, this was such a bad episode.
I think we both recently watched it.
Yeah, because I was trying to jump back into Voyager at the time because I hadn't watched Voyager in a while, and I was just like, I would watch Voyager.
Yeah, you came. I watched Voyager last night, Threshold. I was like, oh, why did you watch that one?
Why? I thought the same thing.
After you're done, I've watched that episode twice today, so give me props.
And you don't need to see it for another 10 years.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
just like Shades of Grey. I never want to talk about it on the podcast, but I talked about it for Worst the Worst, and I don't want to see that again for a very long time.
Don't need to. Never again.
Don't want to do a full episode on that, please. Please don't make me do that. Don't suggest that, please.
Yeah.
Watch me get 100 suggestions, finally.
Yeah. Dave, where can you find us?
All our music you can find from Warp 11. Warp 11, you can find them at warp11.com.
They go faster than Threshold.
They go way faster than Threshold. They're at Warp 11.
I don't even know where that takes them. I mean, are there salamanders, or they turn into newts, or
they turn into Jawas?
Jawas, or are they single-cell organisms?
Who knows?
We have to ask them when they what happens.
Oh, we got to have them back on.
Yeah.
So you can find them at warp11.com or at warp11 on Twitter. You can find us online at Synthaholic Duo on Twitter. I'm at David_J_Duncan.
I'm at Blackbird 2004. Tweet me whenever.
Aaron will answer at all times today. I probably will too, because I work till 2:30 a.m. most nights. So
he has an interesting life.
I'm at a weird schedule, so almost any time day or night we'll probably.
He's not doing anything illegal. Don't worry.
Nope, not really. You can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Synthaholics. If you want to support Guy and his art, use his Tamerlan and the Witches of Flames, you can check out his Patreon at patreon.com/GSDavisArt.
Absolutely.
Check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. Give us stars and reviews. We love those. And send in your emails. We like to read those and read those on the air. We love that. It's synthaholics@yahoo.com.
And hey, you know what? Even better. I mean, we love all those things, but also tell somebody you might know that might like the show. Say, hey, share it on your Facebook feed or Twitter feed. Say, hey, this is a good show. I listen to it once in a while. Word of mouth is awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
coming from you, because we know you love Star Trek, you love science fiction. There are other friends out there that are looking for content too. Everyone's looking for content because we all get bored with the same bullshit over and over again. I'm always looking for new content. I'm always looking for something more interesting. If someone turns me on to something, I'm like, thank you. Something to listen
Aaron's turned me on to many a podcast, which I definitely enjoy.
Yes.
So word of mouth was the word of the podcast, and we like to see it grow. And we're doing pretty good this month over last month. So
we're always enjoying and listen to some of our back episodes, and you can listen to all our fun antics as well.
Most definitely. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Live long and prosper, one and all.
Boy, come mix me a drink before the night's over. I'll puke in the sink and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
Yay!
It's over. Thresholds is over.
It's over.
We don't ever have to talk about this shit again. It's the worst episode ever.
Oh my goodness.
Well, hey, we had to do it.
It's true.
We had to get it out of it. It's like when you get really sick or you drank too much and you got to vomit. You got to do it.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to, but if you puke, you're going to feel so much better.
Most definitely. We had Best of Both Worlds, and then we went downhill with with Justice.
Justice.
And then we were like Rogue One, and then we're like way down with
Way down.
with Threshold.
Oh, we should just cap it off with an animated series and everyone will hate us.
Testing.
Are you ready for some Threshold action?
I'm going to push my dick across the threshold.
I'm closing the door.
Closing the door. The shuttle bay door. Don't cut off my dick.
Oh, your dick fell off.